Brenn Hill joins us at the MusicFest in Steamboat. I'm doing good.
Good.
I'm glad you're here. You're number one at MusicFest, right?
Yeah, my first at MusicFest, yeah. I played, Steamboat a number of times through the years, but yeah, first time at MusicFest. It's a trip, man.
Yeah. What'd you think of the crowds here so far?
Absolutely love them. The best. Yeah. I think this is unique because of the people that are here. They just love music.
Yeah, you played the Dung Beetle Saloon last night. Had a full room.
Had a full room, yeah. It was a ruckus bunch, but they were listening, and I mean, it's not like they were hanging on every note. You know, as an artist, you die for that audience. You die for them, yeah.
Brenn Hill's been recording music for a long time. You got the song out right now that is an old Chris LeDoux classic, One Hand in the Riggin.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about how that came about, because how'd you get Chris's voice incorporated into that song?
Yeah. So, I wrote the song 22 years ago with a friend of mine named Bruce Boughton. We set out to write a song for Chris LeDoux. We set out to write a Chris LeDoux hit, We wrote that song in about 20 minutes in his office one night. And, I had a few channels. One of my mentors was Chris's keyboard player in Western Underground, Bobby Jensen. He played the song for Chris. Chris loved it. And, Chris on his own kind of had the idea, maybe Brenn and I ought to do this on his record. And I was working on a record at the time called Endangered. And so Chris went up to Bobby's studio and put his vocal down. And then, I had some other money interest, record label interests on my end, and clearing with Capitol and all that stuff, and which they were fine. It was the guys that were working with me at the time that tripped over themselves, and so it never made the record. So for 20 years, we were at the studio in Nashville doing some editing, and I told the engineer to give me a copy of that. And I took and this was on an old format called Radar, which isn't used anymore. It's kind of a precursor to Pro Tools. So I take the disc home. I have it in my safe for 20 years. Ned and I are playing Elko last year, maybe year before. He's doing a set. I was emceeing the show that he was on, and it just hit, it's like a light came on. Man, Ned could do a duet with his dad on One Hand in the Riggin. That song's been recorded a number of times. I recorded it. Chancey Williams has a great version of it, other artists. But to some degree, it's been a little bit of a sleeper, and so it just seemed like that was what it was supposed to do, and that's how that happened. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, with AI they can do it." Yeah. That is Chris LeDough singing.
I was
going
to ask you if you've been asked if it was AI.
Oh, yeah, I have. Probably 50 times. And I've responded to people on Facebook, who have said that, no, that's Chris's voice, and I had it in my safe for 20 years. My biggest concern was how in the world I was going to get it from an old format, transferred over to what we all use now, which is, WAV files on Pro Tools, and fortunately Mac McAnally was able to do that, and brought it to life in this modern era. So even though that was the mid-2000s, it's not like that was that long ago, but technology changes so fast. But yeah, it's just such an honor for me to hear, Ned, who's a friend, Chris, who's my hero, singing that song. I can't place a value on that. It's just one of the greatest highlights of my career and my life so far.
Let's talk a little bit about your career and what you've got in the works right now.
Yeah.
You've been collaborating with a lot of folks. Andy Hedges is another artist who's on the lineup here, and you've been working with him quite a bit.
Andy's record, Roll On Cowboys, is a record of duets from kind of across the little genre, the little cowboy genre. Everybody from Michael Martin Murphey, Corb Lund, Ramblin' Jack Elliott is on that record, Tom Russell, Bridget and Johnny Reedy from Montana. And, I was just so honored that he would call me and ask me. I have two cuts on the record, and the title cut with him is Roll On Cowboys. And Andy is just one of these guys. He's a visionary. He called me up a year ago, and he said, we need to do a tribute to Tom Russell and recut Sky Above, Mud Below. And, of course, when Andy has these ideas, I think, why didn't I think of that, I'm riding I'm gonna ride the coattails of his brilliant ideas. Andy is one of these guys that is a visionary, and he's done more to perpetuate cowboy and ranch culture than any single person or organization that I know. He kind of touches everything he touches turns to gold that way, and he's working with, the Ranching Heritage Center in Lubbock. He's working with the Lone Star Cowboy Poetry Gathering down in Alpine, Texas. He's got his hand in all these things, and they're all moving forward to perpetuate ranch and cowboy culture. I'm just honored to be a part of it.
Well, and kind of along those lines, how important is it that Dixon Productions, John, decided to put together a show today called the Cowboy Gathering that you'll be a part of with Andy and Ned LeDoux?
Yeah, we're grateful. We're just grateful. Cowboy music is one of these things. It's always sort of been around. It kind of can fall below the radar a little bit. Elko, is the founding sort of cowboy poetry gathering. It's going to celebrate its 40th year this year. Of course, we're always just hoping that we can hang on, for future generations. But we're seeing young artists coming up writing cowboy songs, cowboys and cowgirls, and, writing cowboy poems and sharing the stories of ranch and cowboy culture, and coming along behind us. I think it's got a bright future ahead of it. And, thanks to John Dixon and the MusicFest for giving us a little bit of a spotlight. We can't survive without it.
I know John's a fan of the genre himself, and likes that kind of music. Any other projects you want to let people know about that you're working on?
Right now I have the largest bank of unreleased recorded songs I've ever had in my career, and it's about 25 songs. I made a record down in Texas this year that I haven't released yet. I'm just trying to work, and I've got other collaborations. Kristen Harris, wonderful Western swing artist. Dom Flemons is on that. I got a duet with Red Steagle. So and then just a bunch of songs that I've written that cowboy songs, and I'm looking forward to getting that out here in the year 2025. It's a different problem to have when you've got a bunch of songs that aren't released, and you got to figure out strategically how to get them out there. Streaming's a little different. Sometimes we don't put out whole records anymore. We do singles, and we do 3 and 4 songs or LPs, and then you take a little time before you come out on the heels of something else, So, that's I guess a good problem to have. And in the meantime, I'm always writing. That's what keeps me going, is being creative and finding new stories and new people and new places to write songs about, and so that's kind of what will always be. But I'm looking forward to getting out new music in 25.
Very good. We're excited to hear it too, and glad you're here at MusicFest.
Thank you, Adam, for being here. Thanks for your support, and thanks for having me this morning.
Brenn Hill joins us from the Steamboat Grand. I'm Adam Smith.